So hi, in the workshop today I'm going to look at these old crusty tools and I'm going to start restoring them. First job, how to get the rust off, and I'm going to use my favourite technique, electrolysis, and I always find this quite exciting because it's one of those techniques I don't have to spend a lot in the shops on chemicals, I don't have to do anything complicated, I don't have to work hard, I just have to stick them in a bucket with some water and some sodium carbonate, washing soda, connect up a battery charger and wait for them to do the job themselves. I'll show you how. So one or two of these can be subjects of their own video. For example, this plane, which does need rust removal, but there's enough there for a couple of videos in its own right on how to restore a plane. So I'm just going to sort through and pick out a few things that really just need proper rust removal to get started. Probably the axe and a couple of the spanners and the pliers, I guess. So rusty screwdriver, easy enough to deal with. I'm going to leave it till the next batch, I think. Big spanner, yep, that's in. These little drill bits. So, I mean, I'll just throw these in because I happen to have it running. They're not really worth the trouble. Okay, small spanner that's pretty badly rusted, but might be quite useful in the electronics lab, I guess. Just for the odd job. Yeah, interesting hex spanner here, very rusty, yeah, and a little extension that's also pretty rusty. Pliers, main problem with these is paint, but they are quite rusty and they're also seized up. So I'm going to throw in this pair of pliers. They do actually belong to me. They used to be my father's and were passed on to me. I gave them a quick clean when I got them, but they need derusting, really. There's a lot of work involved in this brace and woodwork and all sorts of mechanical work, so I'm going to leave that to a separate video for the future. These are the jaws, they're in perfect condition, so that's at least something, but I have to work out how to get the handle off, just loads of stuff to do, so separate video for that. And finally the axe head, and there's a sleeve that goes with it. Now I've taken the handle out because it had woodworm, so I'm going to have to make a new handle as well. I might do a separate video on that, but there's not much to cover. So what do you need to do this? You need first of all a power source. So this is a 12 volt battery charger. You can use 6 volts, you can use 24. 24 tends to be a bit violent with the bubbles, so I just recommend a simple cheap battery charger. No complicated electronics, nothing. Simpler the better. Okay, next up you're going to need some sacrificial anodes, and these are just pieces of scrap steel. If you have access to any graphite, then that is far superior. These will get very, very rusty. As the rust leaves the objects for cleaning, these will just become gunked up, and we will have to stop the process and clean them off occasionally to keep the electricity flowing. Okay, so down here in the plastic tub, we've got the axe head and some spanners and things like that, and they're all wired up together and connected to the negative wire. And yeah, I'm going to sort those wires out in a second so they're a bit neater. So it's not a huge problem. You can put the crocodile clips and things in for the negative wire, but you want to avoid it for the positive. So the positive obviously clips onto the sacrificial anodes, and they're going to be joined together with another cable, and they go down in the tub, and I'll put one in each side. The critical thing is, of course, they mustn't short circuit onto any of the parts that we're cleaning. Now, if you're worried about that, you can put some sort of insulator in so that they can't physically move around, a piece of wood or some plastic or something like that, as long as there's good current flow through the liquid. And the final ingredient is this, soda crystals. These are sodium carbonate, and they come in all sorts of brands. You want the cheapest you can. They're all the same really in the bag. So these were 80p, that's less than $1 from the supermarket. Of course, if you're using a lot, you can shop around and get these far cheaper than that even, but that's cheap enough. This stuff also will help cut through any grease that's on the surface. Not a huge oil remover, but just any surface grease on the metalwork will be removed quite helpfully by these crystals. So quick warning, electricity, water, chemicals, they make a dangerous mixture. These chemicals are designed to help electricity flow. That includes through you. Don't make a mistake, turn it off. So here it is, we've got the sacrificial steel anodes at either side connected with that red wire. And up to the positive, and everything else is connected to the negative, and I've kind of moved that out of the way and just organised it a bit better so we can see what's going on. So I'm going to cut through now, actually turn it on, and then I'm going to cut through, and yeah, we can just see a few bubbles starting to come from one of the parts. That's because it's very close to the anode, we can clearly see that, but the others are a bit calmer, but hopefully they're working. Anyway, I'll cut to a time lapse and we'll see what's going on. First thing, of course, before I touch anything, get that power turned off. Okay, all safe. Okay, so it's only been running an hour. This isn't really long enough, but I thought we'd just take a quick look. Here, first of all, are the sacrificial anodes. So they are pretty disgusting, as you can see. I'll have to wipe that off so that we get good electrical conduction going forward. So yeah, pretty awful. Now you'll notice there also most of the parts are also fairly blackened. So this is part of the conversion process, and a lot of that wipes straight off. I'm going to take a quick look at the pliers. So they're pretty good. They're pretty much ready, I think. And yeah, we've given them a quick wash and they'll be pretty much there, but just a little bit longer, I think, would be helpful. There's just a little bit of rust left in one or two of the worst places, but generally speaking, they are pretty much there. All the loose red rust, that sort of reddy brown rust, has all gone, and we're just left with a pretty nice finish. And I might actually coat these with rubber up to the top of the handles just to give them a nicer grip. And they're pretty much freed up now as well, so that's a bonus. So as for the rest, they're pretty good. We can see, for example, some of the writing on this spanner now, although there is still a fair bit of rust just to be cleared off. It's about 50% done, and the other parts are similar, I guess. So I'm going to put them back in and give them a few more hours. I don't have forever to do it, unfortunately, so I'm going to clean off a few areas to get better electrical connection, and then I'll give it a bit longer, and we'll see what we can do in a couple more hours. Okay, so they've been in a lot less than I would like, but I've got some other stuff I have to do, so I need to call this to conclusion. I've taken the first piece out and just giving it a rinse. So all I'm doing is I take it out, I give it a rinse in clean water. While that's happening, I'm leaving the rest actually in the electrolysis solution, still electrolyting with the electrolyte. And the reason for that is that these can very, very quickly rust as soon as you take these out. Now, this is, 100% better than it was. So I've rinsed it in water and it's had a quick wipe over with some penetrating oil, just to like WD-40 type stuff, just to help get the rest of the liquid off the surface. And I might also use some methanol, neat methanol, for that as well, just to drive the liquid off. And then I rub a little bit of oil into the surface because it's a tool. Obviously, if you're going to paint it and things, you don't rub a bit of oil into the surface. But there we go. There is the first one. Focus. There we go. That is a significant improvement on what we had before. Yeah. So the washing process really just removes, well, obviously the leftover bits and pieces off the surface, but also any last bits of flaky black material that formed on the handle will just be removed with the little scrub. And this is just a nail brush that I'm using. So that's it. These operate very easily now, not a problem. They were stiff as hell before. So I'll give these a quick dry. So if you don't like the black finish, then you can easily just buff them up with a quick wire brush. The black material comes off very, very easily indeed if you do that, and it kind of unifies the look. You can go further and polish them if you really want to, but that's not for me. So I'm just going to give them a quick treatment with a little bit of WD-40 just to make sure that there's no water left trapped in the surface, because the rust does leave an uneven surface, and that means an increased surface area for future rust to get in if you don't look after your tools. So I should point out that, of course, you should also clean the sacrificial anodes, because you can use them dozens and dozens of times. Okay, so here they all are. The spanner you've already seen, the axe is looking pretty good. That's ready for having a new handle and sharpening. I just need some ash. Well, in fact, I've got some ash. I should be able to do that soon. This is the handle grip, or sleeve. That is poor at the bottom, there's no doubt there. I could trim that off perhaps, or I could use a different method. So yeah, so it's definitely very, very thin. It's rusted to nothing in certain parts, but overall these are in excellent condition, given that they are pieces of ancient cast iron tools, and well, not ancient, vintage. You know, this axe is even actually quite sharp. We can see the number clearly printed on the bottom, and yeah, nice, a nice result. So hopefully you've enjoyed this and it's given you something to think about. If you did enjoy it, please remember to click the like button or the thumbs up or whatever's on your screen. And of course, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe and leave some comments down below. And I'll see you next time. You take care.